Now this video is being shot in the summertime, in the nice, hot, and humid part of the summer. I really don't need the black gloves. These gloves are made from a material that is resistant to gasolines and other solvents. Oil's not so bad. I'll still use my latex inspection gloves. But a trick I learned so that my sweat doesn't fill the gloves up with water is I put on these inspection gloves, and you can buy these on Amazon. They come in packs of 10, 20, 30 or whatever for, you know, hardly nothing. And that's a little tight on my thumb there. But anyway, you put on these inspection gloves, and then your latex or nitrile work gloves here. Keep your hands clean. You don't have to wash them as much. Anyway, the point is you put it over top of them, and all that sweat will be absorbed in the cotton gloves, and when you take your gloves off you won't have water pouring out of them. So here we are on the Toyota Avalon. It's going to be a topsider oil change. However, you got to still have to get underneath it for the filter, so I have it on low ramps. Your oil filter should come with an element, some new gaskets in the form of O-rings, and an oil filter canister drain plug. So I'll show you how that works. The oil filter is located about 2 feet back from the front of the bumper, right under this little cutout here. And there's the oil filter housing. There's a square recess located underneath. It'll give you access to the bottom of the filter. So this is 2 parts. First you remove the access plug and that a 3/8 inch drive extension. Alright, on this vehicle I'm not going to be able to demonstrate draining the oil filter before removing the housing because it's all coming out as a unit. Oh, and my topsider is sucking air. I need to attend to that. So here's the whole filter in the housing, so I'm going to take the filter out, clean up the housing cap here, swap out the O-rings, and show you what was supposed to happen. So what is supposed to happen is this cap here is supposed to come off, and then you screw this little plug in here, and it drains the oil out of the cavity, so there's less mess. However, this thing is on here so freaking tight, I'm not even going to break it off. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll be the one changing the oil, so it's no big deal. I'll just put it back on. I've always found the straight picks to take these O-rings off a lot better. You'd think those curved ones would, you know, get in there and hold on to it, and then you could pick it off that way. But I found that not to be the case, but rather these straight ones get right underneath there and you can just pull it right off. So I'm not going to be installing the second O-ring because I'm not going to take this cap off, at least not today. Maybe I'll work on it sometime in the future, but I am just not going to bother with it. I'm just going to reinstall it. I just put the new filter on and screw it down. It's supposed to be 25 Newton meters according to the torque value on the cap. So I'm going to do that. And you can also use your straight pick to remove the seal on your oil container. This vehicle takes 6 quarts, actually a little more with a filter change, but we'll just go by the dipstick. If it's anywhere near the max line, I don't try and get it on max anymore. I used to be very anal about getting it to the very max line. Well, since I've learned that this is the add line, that's not necessarily a minimum. It just says if it gets to this point to add oil. So anywhere between the 2 marks is acceptable, and I stopped trying to get it exactly on the maximum years ago, because actually if you go over maximum, that's actually more harmful than good. And another piece of advice is you don't want to pour a container this way. it'll gurgle and slop and spill and splash. You want to turn it this way and then pour. And it should be a nice laminar flow. See how it doesn't gurgle or splash or run about? Believe me, you'll like that. So let's get those 5 quarts in there. I also did a video on the pros and cons of changing your own oil, and my conclusion was there really was no advantage to changing your own oil, except that you can inspect the vehicle yourself and see if the fluids are okay, see if there's any unusual conditions, see if it's leaking. You can just kind of check it over yourself, and that way if you go get it inspected or take it into the shop for something, he doesn't identify 5 other items. You know, so it's kind of an awareness thing for you, the owner. But changing the oil yourself, they really don't charge all that much to do it. They're not ripping you off. So anyway, that was my conclusion if you watch that other video. So I'm going to finish this video by saying, you know, check your oil level and top off as necessary.